Okay, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David. Wish everyone a Shua Tov, a good Vach for all the listeners wherever they are around the world. And I hope everyone had a wonderful Shabbos. And gaining from the learning that we're learning here, we realize the advantage that we have. Every time we eat, we can get closer to Hashem. Huh? Yeah, it's amazing, right? Realize the food came from Hashem. Thank Hashem that He gives you the food. You make the brachas. It's beautiful. All right. Now, we're learning in Likutey Halachos. We're in Hilchos Betzias Hapas, the laws of breaking bread. It's beautiful that we're learning all these different ideas of why the Shulchan Aruch introduces, the Gemara introduces this idea of the Betzias Hapas, breaking of the bread. And how, again, the amazing thing when Menashe approached Rav Ashi in the dream, and he challenged him. He challenged him about where do you break the bread, and he didn't know. So it's amazing.
Can I ask you one question?
Why not?
Is it okay to cut the bread? Is that also considered breaking?
Mm-hmm.
It is. Okay.
Yeah, cutting the bread is breaking the bread.
Okay.
But wait, okay, where will you cut it?
The dark spot.
There you go.
The darkest.
That's right. That's right. There we go. Yeah, on Shabbos, during the week, there's no Indian to cut the bread. Shabbos, we cut the bread.
Shabbos, we cut the bread?
Shabbos, you cut the bread. During the week, you don't have to cut the bread.
What is it about cutting the bread on Shabbos?
Oh, because that's against the ideas of the Tzedukim, these guys that didn't believe in the Torah Shabbat Peh. So they said you're not allowed to cut. They said you're not allowed to cut on Shabbos. So we specifically cut.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Shabbos we cut. Okay? All right. So now we're up to Vav. Okay? Halacha Hey, and we're up to Vav. Breslov Efrat, and this Inyan that we have, that we're talking about, this idea of the Be'er, of clarifying everything. Like when we start with the original, let's just review just for a moment. Everything starts as a whole, and then it gets broken down to become a whole again, and it becomes what we call the palga, a part, piece. And we gave the example of the seed, right? The seed, you put the seed in the ground, right? And the seed in the ground is a whole seed. It disintegrates, it turns into a whole stalk. You break down the stalk, you reveal the kernel, right? And then you have now a whole kernel. Then you grind the kernel, then you get flour, right? So the flour is a whole, and then we take the flour, we make the flour into a dough. And then we take the dough, and we break a piece off the whole dough, and we put it into the oven, and we bake it, right? And now it's a whole loaf. And the final tikkun is when we break the bread, and we eat the bread. That's the final tikkun. So now, and we said, why are we doing this? Because we're trying to remove for ourselves. We're trying to remove the begadim tsoyim. We have these soiled spiritual garments that originally started from Eitz Hadas Tov Hara, the eating of the tree, and we still have to deal with that today, and that's why these laws are all about eating, because we're trying to make those rectifications for food. Okay, so all this Be'er Befrat in general, in every person, ubechlal in Klal Yisrael in general, ibepratius al kol adam tzarech laver. All of us have to constantly go in life, and we have to clarify and make more clarity. We have to have more clarity in our lives. We have to go through that process, the filtering process, to go filter it out and to get clearer and clearer and clearer. And the final one is the eating. Because we said, once you put the food in your mouth, right, So then Hashem does the rest in the body. Right? Bechinas achila kosher mikulam, that's the hardest one, and that's the biggest challenge that we have when it comes to eating. Right? And again, am I eating for the sake because I love this thing, I enjoy this, and that's why I'm eating it? Or am I eating it because Hashem wants, I want to taste something so nice that Hashem gave me, and I want to be able to thank Hashem that He gave me something that that my taste buds are working, and have the saliva to break it down, and have the teeth to chew it. Thank Hashem for all these things, right? And that's amazing when you do that, right? Is there bikesh David HaMelech al Hashem lasei tzvitzoncha lekay chafatzti b'sayrescha b'sayich meyai. And David HaMelech says, lasei tzvitzoncha, I want to do your will, Hashem. Lasei tzvitzoncha lekay chafatzti. Right, I had that was my. It was his chayva. It was what he wanted to do. Where was that? And he has the Torah within Hashem. David HaMelech says he has the Torah within his innards, his kidney, within his intestines. Meyai. Sheyia beira hanasa yadei Torah mitzvos bechinas beira achila b'soich ameyayim. Because from the mayayim, from the intestines, all the impurities get expelled. Right? Nice way to say it. Right? They get expelled from the body. Right? How do you like that? So all of the sitracha, all of the klipas, all of the impurities, all of the tumah, everything gets pushed out. Al kein kabbalah satayra v'kiyum nikra b'shem achila k'meisha kosa b'yecheskel echol es ha megillah hazos. Look what Yecheskel says. Eat. What does that mean? Echol, it's a Megillah Hazos. Eat this Megillah. What does it say? What does it say? Eat the Megillah. Eat the Megillah. What does he mean? What does he mean by that? Shehu Kalal HaTorah. That's the whole Torah. Kamei Shamar B'Sein Zchan L'Vracha in Mesechtas Erechim Ksiv Sham V'Oichla V'Tehi B'Pi. V'Oichla V'Tehi B'Pi. To be sweet, like in my mouth, that whatever I eat should be sweet. Because all the time you learn Torah and mitzvahs, that is all part of the Beirur process. Because again, you learn Torah, you learn how to do mitzvahs, you learn how to perform the mitzvah, to know what the benefit of the mitzvahs. When we learn Likutey, we see the beauty in the mitzvahs, right? The Beirur atoiv v'litchois harash heim aklipas v'akfiris, who want to push off all the other stuff. In the world, Hashem made the world, there's Yom and Laila, right? We have good and we have bad, right? So it's our job to constantly pick the light. It's our job to always pick the good and to push away the bad. That's our job. That's this Beirur process, right? We're constantly making we make these choices. I'm choosing the good over the bad. This is the choice. Okay, how do I do that? Through learning Torah, because I know what is good. Right? Unless you learn Torah, you don't know what Hashem wants. You need to learn Torah so you know how to perform the mitzvahs. Right? The main thing is to perform the mitzvahs, but you can't perform the mitzvah properly if you don't learn the Torah to understand it. That's the Beirur process. That's like when the food goes in your body, it needs to get processed. So that way the body can benefit by the food gets distributed to the organs, and whatever is no good, it gets dispelled. The same idea. True bechinas kiyat saya mamish, which is an idea of excrement, mamish. Ba'al kein nikroim b'shem achila ki trichin sheyia habeira bechinas achila shazu tachlis habeira bechinas ha'eschem esayich meyai, like the Torah is in my kishkes. Why is it in the Misayich Meyai? Dainu she is zachich atzmai me'abegodem atzayim legamri me'yavchitem me'hatoiv v'yashlicheim lechutz. I take the soiled garments. I throw them out. I take the good out from them, whatever is good in there, and I throw out the rest. I throw it out. Right? They'll be able to eat. They'll merit to eat and to be satiated and to have beautiful garments in the next world. Right? It's a beautiful idea, right? Rabbi Nachman says in Sichas Haran, he writes that, the people in this world, they have plenty of food and they have plenty of garments, right? Right? And then he says that the problem is sometimes, life is over for them and they leave. And they go up into the next world and they're complaining they're cold, they're complaining they're hungry. So the Malach tells them, well, you have plenty of food in your cupboard. I don't want that food. They left in their food in their apartment, they're now upstairs, but their house still has the food in the the refrigerator, and there's plenty of stuff in the cupboard, right? They had the pantry, right? Plenty of stuff, and then they had plenty of suits in their closet, right? Coats and scarves and hats and gloves and mittens, but the neshama is cold upstairs. So the neshama says, "I'm cold." So the Malach says, "Oh, go get your coat." No, I don't want that. That's not the coat that he wants. Right? So the Rebbe says we have to learn Mishnayos and drink down the Mishnayos with a couple of Kapitulach Tehillim. Mishnayos will be your eating, right? And then drink down the learning with your Tehillim. Same way you have your meal, right? You take a drink, you would drink it down. So drink it down with some Tehillim. That's so it's such a big, because in the next world, when we do that, you're creating for yourself garments and food that you have for upstairs. And that's why in the future, the same way when we were in the desert, right? The 40 years we were in the desert and we were eating the mud, there was no waste. Right? We didn't have to use any facilities because there was no waste. That's how it's going to be in the future. Why? Because we're not going to have any achiza to the begodim tzoyim. Right? These soiled garments. Again, all food in this world is tainted with the sin of the eitz hadas toivara. Everything in this world was tainted with that. So therefore, every time we eat, we have to make these rectifications. And there's always going to be something that has to get expelled because it was tainted, right? It was tainted because of the sin of the eating of the tree, good in knowledge, good and bad, right? So all food it was tainted with that sin, and that's what we call the begodim sayim. Those are these soiled garments. So every time we eat, we make the process. We take the good out, we throw away the bad. But in the future time, when Mashiach is going to come in the next world, there is no bad. There's no food that's tainted with the sin, and that's why the man was not from this world. The man came from Shemayim. It wasn't from this world. And if it wasn't from this world, it wasn't tainted with the sin. That's why we had no excrement. That's why we didn't have to use facilities because it wasn't from here. It didn't have that. It wasn't tainted with the original food. Do you understand this concept? It's an interesting concept to understand. Why we have to use the bathroom.
So everything's tainted, and that's why we have all these whatever you call them, the klipot.
Yeah.
And this is all about repairing the world.
That's all it's all about. That's right. But in the future, the food's not going to be coming with that taint. It won't be tainted, so therefore we won't have the need to expel things from our bodies. We'll be able to absorb everything because there's no impurity. Right? You understand? Right? The food will be for eating. It'll be for it'll all be good. Mechase atik zed ahu tachlis shleimus habegodim avakisus naki. That's the tachlis of the shleim of clean garments. Okay. Bebechinas va'atik yoimin Yisov ulevushe kislag chivar. Right? That in the end, the what do you call it? The zaken will be connected with Hashem, and he'll sit together with the kisei and the levush, and he'll have white, nice garments, clean, nice garments. Okay. Ashrei hazoichel lezeh, how fortunate is someone like this. Look what Yaakov says. Yaakov Avinu, when he made a deal with Hashem, right? He says to Hashem, "Hey, Hashem, if you give me lechem, lechel, give me bread." He specifically says food, bread. He specifically says bread. And he says, "Beged lilvash, give me your garments, Hashem. I want clean garments. I want your bread, Hashem. I want your garments. I don't want the stuff from this world," he's telling. He's saying, you understand? Yaakov Avinu wants clean garments. He doesn't want soiled garments. It should be like clean garments. The Torah, it's brought down from Chazal that the Torah was only given to those that ate the man. Right? In the desert, we ate the man. Right? We finished our matzah. Right? And Hashem gave us the man, and we were eating the man. Because the man was totally absorbed in our organs. Everything. There was nothing impure about it. The man was pure. It was pure, so it was totally able to be benefited by every particle, every molecule of it was pure. So the body accepted it. Because this is the food that the angels eat. You believe that? So the angels also have to eat. But the angels don't have to look for a restroom. They don't need restrooms. We need restrooms because we're involved with the food down here. The food down here is connected to the Eitz Hadas Taivara, so there's some taint in there, there's some evil in there, we have to expel it. But as far as the angels, they're eating the angelic food. They don't have any waste. They have no connection to these soiled garments. There's no connection to them. It's pure. And that was what Adam Arisha was able to eat before. Hashem said to him, eat from all of the fruits. Eat from everything, but not from this tree. So Adam Arisha would have been eating pure food, no waste. Nothing tainted. It's all pure. But only did that for less than an hour. Because the main point of keeping the Torah and fulfilling it is if when you take off these garments, because again the problem is, so long as we have these soiled garments, whenever we learn Torah, we're thinking, I don't know, what are the rabbis telling me? Why are they saying like this? Why did the rabbis say like that? You ever feel that way sometimes? You're learning?
Not anymore.
But you used to, right? Right? People do that. Why do the rabbis have to say like this and that? That's because of the begadim tzayim. They have these soiled garments. So the soiled garments are not letting them make these clarifications. But when they start removing them and start doing tshuva and start recognizing Hashem, and you get rid of, so then you see how everything is so beautiful in the Torah. We call Nesiv Yisrael Shalom. Right? We say that when we put away the Torah, right? We say V'chol Netivo Se'ar Shalom. All the pathways of the Torah are peace, they're great. But I can only recognize that if I have my clean garments. If I have my soiled garments, it doesn't seem that way. Also, when we ate the man, it was the same idea, right? All the man was totally absorbed into us. We got the full benefit of the man. It's amazing. No waste. Moshe Rabbeinu was at the mountain. Moshe went up to the mountain. He was on the mountain, right? For 40 days, he didn't eat. No food. He didn't eat food. No food. Machma shahaya klal kabbalas haTorah v'al kein haya tzarich lezachik atzmai mizeh betachlis hazicha. That was the whole thing of kabbalas haTorah. Moshe Rabbeinu had to purify himself in order to be the vessel, in order to accept the Torah, to give the Torah over. It's fascinating to understand the concept, the understanding that everything that we eat in this world is a challenge, is a battle, right? Like we said, we have the kana and the veshet, right? The kana and the veshet, right? We breathe, we speak, and that's all through the kana, right? The windpipe, right? The voice and we are breathing, and everything is from there. But the other side, the veshet, is the esophagus, is where we eat our food. The food goes down. And veshet, we said, are the same letters as satan. If you stretch out the vav, take a vav, you stretch it out a little bit, you get a nun, and that's satan. And that's the battle of eating, right? That's why the battle, because again, it was the same satan that was over there with Adam and Chava, the Nachash, Satan. It was them. So he's now back with us every time.
You know, since I've learned this, I am not coughing and fainting as much as I used to.
Okay, good. Baruch Hashem.
Because I understand the separation, what I need to do to keep them separate.
Okay. Baruch Hashem. See, it's physically working too.
Absolutely. It's amazing.
Baruch Hashem. Okay, so that was that idea. Okay, all right. Now let's go to Zion. V'zeh bechlolius ha'olam iker oitzim hayigia sheyesh achshav l'mi sheroitze lichnos b'avodas Hashem. And now you learned the principle. We understand this concept in general, and now we understand why you have to make so much yigia. You have to make so much toil. When you want to learn Torah, and you want to understand Torah, you want to come closer to Hashem, you have to work on it, right? Lemisha writes a lichnos b'avodas Hashem. B'chol oitze meriras hagolas shel achshav beikvus to the Mashiach hu bechinas she'achshav trichen levora tachlis habeira shel b'chinas habeira nasa yedei achila. Because now we're in this world, and we have to work on this. We have to make the final tikkun. We said that the same way, all the tikkunim are with the seed and the stalk and the dough and everything. The final tikkun is the eating. So too, we're now in the ikvus of the Mashiach. Our final battle in this lifetime is with our food. And I believe that's why food is they make food so enticing today. Right? There's so many different types of foods, so many different types of restaurants, all these different caterers, all these different varieties of food, all to make you, food. More satan, right? Veshet, satan, right? That's what it's all about. It's us realizing when we're eating. Now, no one's telling you not to enjoy your food, but understand why you're enjoying your food, to serve Hashem. That's why you're enjoying your food.
And we should get rid of the candy, man.
No, the kids need candy. No, there's nothing wrong with that.
We're training them to...
No. That's something else. Okay. That's a different thing.
Okay.
Harishonim choshru vizoru vikotru. The beginning, the original generations, they were the ones that were plowing. They were the ones that were the ones that were seeding. They were the ones that were harvesting. Vidoshu, vitochnu, and they were dashing. They would winnow, and then they would do their and they would do their grinding. Virokadu. That's and then whatever all the whole process of the things you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. The Gemara in Masechta Shabbos goes over what you're not allowed to do: the windowing, the grinding, all of those things. They did all of that. Ein lanu ma leechol. Vanu ein ma leechol. Ki bechloli yisraelam habeira shel achshav hu bechinas beira achila shu kosher b'yosef. We have the most difficult process. So they did the original things. But now we're down to make the final tikkun. Because we are the end. This is the ikvus of the Mashiach, right? This is the dar Mirz Hashem. We are going to be the ones that greet Mashiach Tzidkenu. So we have to be the ones to make the final tikkun. Because now we have a big isgabris of this begodim saying again from the food. These soiled garments are coming up. They keep coming back. Even though the original tzaddikim, they worked on this, like we discussed, the way that tzaddikim would eat. And they would just think about their food, and they would take one bite, and they would contemplate and contemplate. Of course, they were making these tikkunim. Of course, they're working on that. But that was on an individual. That was on an individual basis. But on a global event, on a global process, that wasn't done yet. That's up to us. And that's why we have a lot of we have to endure a lot of bitterness and a lot of toil before we can do anything of kedusha, even a davar katan shebekdusha, something small in holiness. Befrat lischus atzmai lizakos as atzmai. Mitaivas v'hurim ki b'chol pam yitzrei shalodam is gabra olav v'shoiftim alibay v'datei ra'oinim u'machshava yisroi sheim b'chines kiyah v'tzaya mamash. Because today, the Yetzer Hara comes to all people with different kinds of thoughts of immorality from all different angles and all different, it's amazing. He comes up with all these type of things. He's trying to drown us with these begodim tzayim. V'zeh machmas b'chinas, because the final clarification, the final tikkun is the most difficult, right? Because once you make the tikkun, if we can all accomplish this, so then the Sitra Achar is out of business. He's out of business. So of course he's doing what he can. He's doing what he can in order to prolong his life. So he comes at everyone with all different types of things. That it seems so strange. But now when you understand why he's doing it, so it makes sense. And don't worry. In other words, you have these things, but realize it's not your fault that these things are coming at you. This is the situation we find ourselves in, right? You understand? This is the situation we find ourselves in. Almost like if you're in a time when there's a sandstorm, right? Right? There's a sandstorm. So if you're outside, you're gonna get full of sand. Everything gets dusty because you're there, right? You're there. Has nothing to do with you. You happen to be there at that time, so you get all dusty. Right? We happen to be now in this generation, so we get bombarded with all these things because there's a storm going on. We have to understand these are things that we learned about so many times. The idea that you can only think about one thing at one time, right? These ideas that we learned in Likutey Halachos, right? The mind only can process one thing at a time. So if a thought comes into your head, change the thought. The Rebbe says, don't try to fight the thought. If you try to fight it, it'll get stronger, right? If you have an opponent and you fight with the opponent will get stronger. But if you ignore the opponent, so you can't, the opponent can't fight with himself, right? If you ignore him, you go the other way. The opponent can't fight. The same way with the thought in the mind. If you change the thought, it doesn't get stronger. But then the thought will come back again. Change the thought again. Keep changing the thought. That's what we learned. Remember that? You can keep changing it. And the example I gave you was with the computer, remember? With the processor. So you have a single processor, can only do one application at a time. They have a dual processor, you can do two, a quad, and then so on and so forth. You can do more applications at a time with the more processor. Okay. Kimai sha'ata habaldova v'asitracha mispashet b'yoyse mi mei kedem. Even though that now the Baldover, he's spreading out and he's more active than he was originally, right? Kamai kain leuma zeh kvar chomal aleinu Hashem yisbarach v'hikdim refuah lemaka. HaKadosh Baruch already brought us, gave us the refuah to the Makkah. The refuah means he gave us the antidote for the plague. We have a plague, we're going through a plague, but Hashem already gave us the antidote. What's that? V'sholach lanu kvar tzadikim ka'elu she'eshiru achareihem bracha, that they left over for us bracha, they left over for us blessing, svarim neiroyim, wonderful, awesome, magnificent svarim, books, ke'elu, masha le'haya b'mei kedem, that we didn't have these before. In other words, even Likutey Maran and all this beautiful svarim, we didn't have these books. They didn't have them. They didn't have these ideas. They weren't brought down yet into the world. But now we have these things. So we have tools, we have medication in order to fight against the plague. Right? We have a plague. But we have the antidote. It's here. The tools. Asher yodam onu yichaylu lischazek lahachiyes atzmeinu gam ata lishoyer alamadenu lahamshich es atzmei laHashem yisbarach b'chol pam. So we could stay upright. We could stay upright, and we can constantly be connected to Hashem through all of the bombardment. Yes, we're bombarded, but we can understand how to stand upright and still stay with Hashem, and the tremendous pleasure Hashem has. The tremendous pleasure Hashem has that when we're fighting this battle, He puts us through this. He's putting us through this. He knows we can do this. You understand? Hashem put us here now because He knows we can accomplish this. If we just follow the rules, if we follow what we learned from the tzaddikim, we can accomplish this. We can do this. That's why we're here today. Even though we get the tremendous bombardment of mayim rabim, the great flood waters, right? The floods. Right? We just read Parshas Noach, right? Mayim azeidoinim ke'elu rachman l'zlan, the water of sin. Hashem should spare us. V'zeh shama David HaMelech al v'shalom lulei sayroscha shashua ozavadati kani. David HaMelech said, if not for your Torah, the beautiful words, lulei sayroscha, you know the famous song, right? Shashua, right? If not for the Torah, if not for the beautiful Torah, I would have been lost. David HaMelech was saying, look at all of his life. Look at David HaMelech's life. Right? David HaMelech, his life. He was born into a family. He was like, you could say, almost the runt of the litter. Right? He was the runt of the litter, right? And through his life, his son, he has his father, Shaul HaMelech, right? And he wants to kill him. Then his son wants to kill him. I mean, come on. This guy didn't have an easy life at all.
His father wanted to kill him.
Yeah. Poor guy, right? 70 years he lived. Adam Arishan gave him the list, right? The main comfort we get is if when we connect ourselves to the Torah. That's the main comfort. That's how we can have comfort in this turmoil we find ourselves in. Kibalnu al yedei Moshe Rabbeinu v'shalom, that we got from Moshe Rabbeinu, and again Moshe Rabbeinu went on the mountain for 40 days not eating, because again he wanted it to be pure. So if we want purity, we have to connect to the Torah. The Torah is pure. Okay. Kimivay b'Torah now. Sheikar aliyas hakovoid mizulasa de galusa. The main way to lift up the covet that's being mizalzel in the gullus that we have now it's cheap in the covet, right? The chain and the chashivas was given over to the nations of the world, but we want to take it back. And how do you get that? Al yedei balei tshuva v'geirim. Through balei tshuva and geirim, right? You know, you have more kvayid Hashem. Think about it. When more people do tshuva, when more Jews do tshuva, and now they're serving Hashem, of course, there's more kavod of Hashem in the world, right? That's why the Yetzer Hara is explaining now why the Yetzer Hara is making this big his campaign in order to drown all of us with immorality and food and everything else. Why? Because the whole point is to make Gerim and to make Balei Tshuva. So we said when you eat, right? Let's review it for a second, okay? There are souls in the food. When you make the proper tikkun, right? When you make the bracha correctly, like we said, when you wash your hands and you make the hamaitzi lechem in the haaretz, you're eating the piece that was the darker piece that the fire got into the crusty piece, and you eat that piece, and now you're making a rectification for the soul. That causes a Baal Tshuva. That can cause someone to become a ger. More kavod of Hashem in the world. The Sitracha doesn't want more kavod of Hashem, right? Why did he tell Adam and Chava? No, Hashem don't want you to eat from this tree because then you're going to become a god, and Hashem doesn't want competition. Remember? He does that with us too today. Same thing. No, eat this, you'll be strong, right? They tell you, eat this diet. Oh, you're going to be very strong. Do this thing, you'll be very good. It's very good for your health. You'll be very powerful. Right? Go to the cheder kosher, go to the gym and work out. You'll be strong, mighty. Right? Is that true? Yeah, he may seem strong, but how many guys with those big muscles have a heart attack and they die too? Right? It means nothing. It means nothing. It's all nonsense. They know the whole point is that the Yetzer Hara doesn't want us to make these rectifications, so there shouldn't be more Balei Tshuva, so there shouldn't be more Gerim in the world, so there shouldn't be more kavod of Hashem. Right? We said the whole idea is Meloi Chalaretz Kevodo, right? Hashem's glory is filled in the entire world. It's our job to reveal Hashem's kavod in the world. Right? The more Jews you have serving Hashem, learning Torah, you reveal Hashem's kavod in the world, right? Oh, it's another way to do it. Here we go, another way. Every Jew has his shorish of his soul is found in a letter in the Torah. Right? The Torah has 600,000 letters connected to the 600,000 source neshamas. Right? There are 600,000 source neshamas. Okay? There are more Jews than 600,000 because they are part of a source neshama. Okay? That's why there can be unlimited amount of Jews from the 600,000 because they're all parts of a source neshama. Okay? So there's 600,000 letters. Each Jew is connected to another letter, a part of a letter, whatever. That's why the halach is even if a part of a letter in the Torah is missing, it's not valid, right? We learned that, right? If you're missing a part of a letter, it's not valid. That's because every Jew is included in the letter, in the part of the letter. So that's how you can have Gerim. That's how you can get the Pesheya Yisrael. All of those Jews that are screaming, free Palestine. All of those guys, all of these guys, right? All the A lot of Jews, unfortunately. Right? A lot of Jews, unfortunately. So you get these guys to come back. You can get them to come back. Can you imagine you get that guy Soros to come back? Can you imagine? That'll be a big win. Right? That would be a big win, right? Right? A big win. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We just have to keep doing what we need to do.
They could be very religious, have this kind of political opinion.
Yeah, what?
Sometimes they are religious and they have this different political opinion. It's also happens.
I understand. So get them to change their political opinion to the right idea.
If you think so, if you think so.
No, you can do that. No, you can do that based on the way you eat, when you learn Torah. And if you learn Torah and you realize every Jew's neshama is in each letter in the Torah.
Yeah,
So when you learn Torah Lishma, as you're learning the Torah Lishma, all those souls that are part of those letters, they can all make tshuva because you're learning Lishma. Because you're fixing their letter in the Torah. Their letter in the Torah was tainted. But when you read it and you're reading it to connect to Hashem, when you're reading the letter in the Torah to connect to Hashem, that's why you're reading it. So you make a rectification for those letters and those words that you're reading. It's not easy, I understand. But we have to first understand that you can do this, right?
No, I believe it's possible to do it. It's just that I'm not sure that, I don't feel that I need to change their political opinion because maybe they're right in their own ways. I mean, it's different. There's Torah.
Who cares about politics?
Because you talked about politics.
No, you talked about politics. I'm talking about to get them to make tshuva, to serve Hashem.
Okay, that's it.
Right, really in halacha there's no such a thing as politics.
Yeah, so let's
Okay,
politics.
leave politics. There we go. Vayasham. Shenishmais habal tshuva v'geirim heim bechinas palga. Right, the idea of the Baal Tshuva, the Ger, their soul is only a part. It's a piece. It's a part. It's not full because they don't have the covet of Hashem. Because they have all of those soiled garments attached to them that don't let them come back to Hashem. It's the soiled garments that keep them away from Hashem. You understand? That don't let them see the beauty. They don't let them see the beauty. As if you're wearing glasses and your glasses have mud on them, right? Right, to picture this idea, right? You have glasses, right? So you can see with the glasses, right? They're good. The glasses are good. If you have the right prescription, you can see with them. But what happens if you splash some mud on the glasses? Will you see well? But you're still wearing your glasses. But you can't see there's mud on them. Then they have their garments, they have their neshama, but it's full of mud. They can't see anything through it. They got to get the scrape off all that mud. Then you can start to see. Right? V'tzeichen l'taknam u'lezachacham b'chol pam al-oyram b'chol pam hakol nasa yidei ha-Torah sha-tzadikim ha'iskim by u'mamshichim lanu through the Torah that the tzadikim learn and they draw for us.
No, you're eating it. I don't understand why.
Understood, like many people.
And therefore you can draw the souls from the source from the Torah, which is in the Shorish in the Torah. And everybody is connected to another letter in the Torah. So when I learn Torah, and the tzaddikim learn Torah, and I learn Torah to connect to Hashem, I make rectification in all of those letters. And I can rectify souls of Jews that have no idea who they are. I can maybe have no idea who this Jew is. It could be a Jew in another country. It could be a Jew in another continent. But my soul is, again, I'm part of his source neshama. He was put over there, I'm put over here. I read the Torah right and I connect to Hashem. I can help my friend over there. I have no idea. So Yidei Zeh Meir Nishmais Kol Echad VeEchad Sheyuchol Izgabel Lizbol Hayagias VaMerivas Ad Sheyavshit VeYashlich HaBegodim Tzayim. So therefore they can remove all of those soiled garments. They can remove their soiled garments to put on clean garments.
These garments, though, are they constantly going on and off?
What's that?
Like meaning, so you're getting these you're doing tshuva, you're getting these.
Yes. Do you ever have your shirt you're eating and you see? I get a little spot on my shirt, right? So you clean the spot off, right? And you put the shirt back on again, right?
And then you spill some more stuff on your shirt later.
It gets spilled on, so you clean it again, right?
We're constantly going through this.
Right, we're constantly going through, because again, all the food in this world is tainted because it's tainted from the chet adas, eitz adas, toivara. So all food. So that's why we have to make the berurim. We have to make the clarifications. We have to sort it out.
But sometimes they disappear. Like, I used to not be able to go buy a makola without buying some kind of ice cream.
Right.
And now it's like, there's no desire, there's nothing.
Okay, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem.
So I think, so we can actually...
Okay.
You got to the age.
Ki ikar hatikun ayedei haTorah shu metaheres mikol hatumos v'agilgulim v'atenufim habayim ayedei begadim sayim. So if you want to know how to clean your garments, study Torah. Torah is the best of dry cleaning. It cleans all the garments, spiritual garments. The Torah can clean them. So more Torah you learn, the more Tehillim, the more Esbaididus you speak to Hashem. All these things are all ways to clean these begadim, to get closer to Hashem.
All politics is the Yitzhak.
It is, yeah.
It's sheker. Wow.
It's all
The
sheker.
whole subject is sheker.
Yeah.
It's a
And
waste
that's
of time.
But I don't understand, like someone have to run the things,
Let run it. God runs it.
Wow.
It gets your mind off of God running it, that's all. You see these characters, these sheiks and these prime ministers. It's just a disturbance, so you don't see
You
that.
think of it also.
The Yitzhak, so you don't see God.
You think also, for example, a synagogue, like a small community, can also be run like no gabayim, no people.
You need gabbai. What do you mean? What do you mean? Why don't
That's
you
not
have
politics.
You don't need the board.
It's like gabayim of big things,
No.
You don't need the board.
No, in the shul, the gabbayim, they're there with the rap. They're there to come closer to Hashem. But the governments are there to get you away from Hashem.
But
Yeah.
in a religious country, there would be no system.
No,
If you have a board, when Sheleimah Melech was the king over here, that was good politics.
Okay. So that's
That was good, but the politics we have today is poison.
Even though I heard that he took taxes for the temple because people didn't want to
Okay,
pay,
okay.
So you have,
Okay, but whatever it was
the Mishkan, people just brought.
It's the best we've ever done, so.
That was a good time. K'may Shomer b'sein z'chaim l'vracha k'necholim nitohu ma necholim ma'alin es ha'odam mituma l'tahara av divrei Torah. So to Torah, of course, Torah is the greatest way to cleanse a person, right? The more time you have to learn Torah, and the more Torah you can learn, and especially if you koveya itim l'Torah, right? The main thing is koveya itim l'Torah. Set aside time to learn Torah, and make that time is a chayk v'layavar. In other words, you set up that time, and you learn that time, no matter what happens. No matter what, this is my time to learn. As we're learning in Hilchos Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, we're going to learn now. We're actually learning Hilchos the Talmud Torah. Okay, so that was our lesson for today.
We do it thanks to you. Thanks to you, we're doing it.
Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Thanks to Hashem Yisbarach.
Thanks to Hashem.
It's like
Thank
getting
you
up
to
every
Hashem.
morning and putting on a suit of armor.
Okay, here we go. We're learning in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. We're learning Siman Chav Zayin, which is Hilchos Talmud Torah. How do you like that? Isn't that nice? We just learned now Torah is the best way to clean your garments, and now we're learning the laws of learning Torah. Isn't that great? But thank you, Hashem. Where are we up to? We're up to Dalet, I think, right? 4. Okay. Dalet, 4. Okay, so 27:4. Kishuhu loymid b'tzarich lotzeitz lachutz. You're learning, and you have to go out. Al yanuach es hasefer patuach. Don't leave your book open. Yeah, so let's say you want to go get something from your car. You're learning in the base medrash. You want to go to the bathroom. You want to go where you're doing something else. So don't leave your book open. Put something there. close the sefer. If you're not using the sefer, you're not sitting in front reading from the sefer, close the book. Close the book. Why? Talmuda, you can learn, you can forget your learning. You want to learn Torah, you want to remember your Torah, right? So he's telling you here now, anytime you you need to leave for whatever reason, make sure you close the book. Okay, simple? Understand that, right?
No.
Well, you'd think the reason would be kavod for the material, but no, that's because you're going to lose your
You're going to
learning.
lose your learning.
Wow.
Why would we lose our learning?
I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, what?
I don't know why. I'm trying to say why we would lose our learning. I mean, for example, I have a setup with a thing, and I have my book open to the page, like my chumash, open to the page where I left off, so I know where to start again.
Right. No, but then you
Yeah,
close
so
the book.
Put your marker there. Close
You
the
have your
book.
marker and close the book. What do you mean? You leave it open?
Yeah.
You're saying
Well, that's be a begadim sayim. See that? That tells you have to leave the book open.
Yeah, I also sometimes do it to just because it reminds me when it's open, it reminds you to keep going to the same place, to start.
I understand, but he's telling you if you have to leave to go to the restaurant, don't, or you're leaving to go somewhere, don't leave the book open.
But
Close the book. Let's do hay also. Can we do hay? Let's just yeah.
If you forget, if you just leave it open because you forgot, but if you leave it for a purpose to study more, is it? Also
He doesn't say that. He says here, "Kishu loymi v'tzarech lo tzeis lachutz." You got to go out. You got to go out. Al yaniach es hasefer petuach. Don't leave the book open. Yeah. Dalet.
valid.
So some people will read the book like this, just open like this.
No. Hilchas Talmud Torah.
Why that?
Chav Zayir. Chav Zayir. Yeah, Dalet.
What's that?
Yeah.
שלומד וצריך לצאת.
Okay, can we do? Let's do hey also. We'll finish Hilchas Talmud Torah. Tzarech lizor b'chol ma shehu loimed. You have to be careful with what you're learning. Lahaitzi sifasav ulashmiya la'oznav. Here's another one. Here you're learning, right? When you're learning, say the words. Say the words, but don't just say the words. Say the words that you can hear what you're saying. We learned these ideas, right?
It's amazing. If we do, if you say to do what he says,
Yeah.
so he says to study halacha, not to study this. To study halacha.
He says to the medrash. No, he says medrash also, and he says agadata. No, he doesn't say
Look
that.
at the.
But he first says halachot.
No, go.
If you look at
start
3,
from
it tells
Aleph.
you.
Go-
Look at Gimel.
Gimel, yeah, Gimel.
Yeah.
מי שאינו יכול לעשות תורתו קבע, it's like us.
Agada,
You're doing
Midrash,
תורתך קבע.
Talmud,
You're not doing תורתו
Musar.
קבע. First of all, halachot, no? I don't know.
No.
We're
If you read,
learning
just read
halacha.
we learned it
We're
yesterday.
learning the
No, it's not
halacha.
the halachot. Halachot
Yeah.
is-
So that's what we're
But
learning.
What
That's
he
what.
says, it should be first halachot. I'm not saying it to
okay,
make an
okay.
argument. I'm just saying
Okay.
to
You
understand what's
listen.
true.
We'll discuss it after. We're learning now. Hey, okay. So we'll discuss that one. Okay.
Musar.
We went through that. We discussed that the other day.
You discussed it.
Yeah, we already discussed that. Shenema lo yamush sefer haTorah hazeh mipicha v'yigisa b'yoyim v'loyim. Right? Here we go. You're supposed to be involved in Torah learning all the time. The Navi Yeshua told us that. Umi shemaitzi b'sefasav afal pi she'einai mevin. And if someone says the words and he doesn't understand it, he's reading the words but he doesn't understand it. Kiya mitzvahs v'limadatem. He's still mekayim the mitzvah v'limadatem. Right? L'chein, kol am ha'oretz mivarech birchas haTorah b'shachar lifnei hapsukim. And therefore, anyone, whether he's a Talmud Chacham, he's an am ha'oretz, he doesn't know, he does know, all Jews, we make the birchas haTorah and we say the psukim. L'chein kishoyla l'sefer Torah. When a person goes up to have an aliyah. What if a person is learning and he doesn't have a good comprehension? He has a kaitzedata. His mind is he doesn't have a good mind to understand. He'll merit to understand it in the next world.
Okay.
So learn in this world.
Be
but
patient.
The Rebbe says like this. The Rebbe says in Sichas Haran, he says when you're learning, you should learn as much as you can, and have bekiyas in learning. Why should you have bekiyas in learning? Because he said when you learn a lot, whatever you learned in this world, you have the right to learn in the next world. If you didn't learn it in this world, you can't learn it in the next world. Okay, so the more you learn today here in this world, the more Torah, Nevi'im, Ksuvim, and the more halacha you learn, the more Gemara you learn, the more Zayar you learn, the more anything you learn, the more you learn in this world is what you have to learn in the next world.
So that's why Rabbeinu says to cover ground.
Cover ground, right?
You can make up the deficit later on.
Wait. Now, but he says if you come to a piece and you don't understand it,
Yeah.
so Rabbi Nachman says, okay, go over it one more time, go over it a third time. If you don't understand it, just keep going. He says, why? Because your neshama understands. You don't understand it, but your neshama understands. Here you see in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, he's saying the same thing. You see that this is halacha l'maisa. Yiska la'avinai ba'olam haba. You'll merit to understand it in olam haba. Same words, same thing. Same thing.
Lots of faith.
What?
Lots of faith.
That's it. You need to have a emunah, right? Okay. But really, if you don't understand, so really, he's not saying it over here. But really, anytime you learn Torah, Nevi'im, and Kesuvim, right? So if you're learning Torah, you're learning Navi, right? You're learning Navi, or you're learning Megillas, right? The things that were written by either Torah, Nevi'im, and Kesuvim. Tanakh. If you learn Tanakh and you don't understand, but you're reading it, you're still Mekayim the mitzvah, like you said in Madatam, Vili Madatam. You're Mekayim the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. But if you can read Mishnayos, you do have to understand it. Torah Shabbal Peh, you do have to understand on some level. On some level. If you don't understand the depth of it, okay, but you have to understand it on some level. You can't just read it.
Oh, really? Because lots of people say Mishnayot just for saying it, So you must understand it.
But those people saying it, maybe they understand the words.
To understand.
If you understand the words on a basic way, it's fine. Even if you don't understand any words in Torah and you're just reading the Torah, you're still accomplishing. Even if you don't know the translation of any of the words.
You should understand it.
No, that's in Tanakh. But when you're learning Mishnayos, Gemara, Halacha, then you have to understand it on some level in order to count as you're learning. Tanakh you can just say.
On a simple level, Pashut level.
Right, Sfaradim say you can read Zayar also, that you don't have to understand it, the words, whatever, that's what they say. But okay, so this is our lesson over here. Torah is the best way to clean off the begadim saying. We should all have a wonderful day, and we should all hear Besora Tavot Kol Tov. Thank you all for joining.